Imagine if you could stop stressing about what other people are thinking and take care of your health in a way that allows you to stay in your top form, both physically and mentally. This is what I helped my client Taylor do, and the work that I do every day as a professional body image and confidence coach. We're going to talk about the exact steps that we took to get her from a place of obsessing over calories, obsessing over her body, and feeling like she was missing out on her relationships, her friendships, and her family life because of her fixation with her body, to a place of feeling so confident and so secure in how she takes care of that body and how it looks, so that you can learn to take an approach to your wellness and your body image that gives you so much confidence and allows you to know that you're nourishing your body now and for the future. Let's get into it. I'm here with my lovely program grad past client, Taylor. We were just looking, we worked together about a year and a half ago, which is crazy how much time has flown. But you and I have stayed in touch since then a good bit. You were someone that I wanted to reach out to and interview about our work together because you were somebody that was just so determined, you were so motivated, and we accomplished so much in such a short time together. And I know that a lot of it has stayed with you since and really impacted your life since. So I'm so happy we're here. We were catching up before this, and it's so nice to hear your voice. It's crazy that it's been a year and a half, but just diving right in, we were working together about a year and a half ago. What was life like before we were working together, up until the point that you decided that you wanted to reach out to me, to work with me? We talked about all things like body image, food, movement, but also friendships, family, so much in our work together. So tell me a little bit about those things before. What was it like? What was hard?
Yes, a lot growing up and just social media in general. I grew up in a town and just in a time where social media was really popular. So I think that before working with you, I compared myself to what others look like on social media. And also just being a college athlete and an athlete my whole life, I was constantly looking at what I ate, what I looked like. Was I eating enough? Was I eating too less? And if I did eat a lot, would constantly look at myself in the mirror and weigh myself. And I think that a lot of factors played into it, like social media, being an athlete. And I think what happened before this is that I really got caught up in what I look like and how much I weighed instead of how I feel about myself. And I lost that motivation to love myself and loved what I was looking at, the expectation of what I wanted to look based on how other people perceive me. Because all my life, people are like, "Oh, you're so skinny, you're so athletic," and that's not what I felt about myself. I was constantly just fighting behind the scenes and weighing myself and things like that. So it was really hard when you hear things from people around you and you're not feeling that way about yourself. So I think that I wasn't confident. I think that I was confident in my abilities of swimming and lifting and those parts of my life. But when it came to looking at myself in the mirror and really loving myself, of like myself inside, it wasn't there. So that's what I would say what was before working with you.
Yeah, absolutely. You put that into just such good words that I feel like so many people can relate to, even if they've had a different experience from you. It's also the same. And so much of what you just said reminds me of myself as well, which is why we connected so much when we started talking. And it sounds like overall you had the quote unquote healthy habits in place, but your mindset behind them was not serving you. It was a lot of, I need to maintain this body. I need to make sure that other people find this
Right.
body acceptable, whether it's attraction or thinking that you're athletic enough or you're working hard enough. And our body image in that way becomes this manifestation of our self-worth. So you had this internal belief that you weren't good enough. And I remember meeting you and just being so shocked because you were such a hard worker, both in swim and in school at the time. And you were such a loving, devoted friend. And I saw all of these amazing characteristics in you, but you really struggled to see them in yourself. And it
Yeah.
came out in your relationships with your body, but also food and movement. We talked a lot about both food mindset and trusting your nutrition and also going to the gym, your mindset towards exercise. What were your thoughts around food and movement at that time?
Yes, I was obsessed with how many calories I burned. So if I only burned 500 calories, that means that I had to eat 500 calories, so evened out. Or okay, everything was about calories, I felt. And then when it came to movement, I had to work out every single day. And if I didn't work out, I would eat less that day, or I wouldn't have dessert that day. And then even with the guilt with food too, if I had Oreos, I would feel guilty about that, or because, oh my God, I didn't go to the gym. Like I have to go, I have to burn that off tomorrow. Things like that, I feel is really hard. It was really hard. And because it was just like, that's whatever, like you see on TikTok, people think about that stuff all the time. It's just
Mhm.
negative connotation with food and that I feel like I was really struggling with. And it was a joke in college too. Oh my God, Taylor, you have to eat as a swimmer. And I'm like, no, I have to make sure I burn it off. Like on my Apple Watch, it says I burn 1,000 calories. I was just so focused on movement, eating. It was really negative. It was really negative.
Yeah, it sounds like it took so much of your mental energy every single day.
Yeah, I felt like it consumed my life because it was constant. Like I would see it on social media. I would compare myself, and then I would talk to people around me, and it would always be brought up. And it was something that was just never ending. So that's why when you came across my TikTok page, I was like, this sounds like me. This is something that reminds me of myself. And I was ending swimming at the time, and I was like, wow. I think it was one of the TikToks you were working with an athlete. I think that's what drew me because I was like, this is how I feel. Like I'm ending swimming now, and I'm not going to be a swimmer anymore. And I'm having these thoughts, and it was not a good way to start my post grad. So I was like, okay, let me do something about it. Started.
Absolutely. Yeah. You were actually my third college swimmer. So when we worked together, I was more familiar with what that lifestyle, that training program, that season looks like. And if anybody's watching this and they don't know what I'm talking about, I have another interview that should be up by the time you can watch this with one of the first swimmers I had. And she was the one that taught me about your training schedule, how you're pretty much working out constantly. You're not just swimming, but you have lifts, you have ab days, you have so much exercise. And then you both need so much fuel through food and calories and are constantly aware of your body because you're literally in a swimsuit, and swimming takes every muscle in your body. So every part of your body is under scrutiny if you want to be a better swimmer. So yes, I remember us starting
Yeah.
to work together, and you weren't my first swimmer. And before my swimmers, I also had horseback riders, ex-gymnasts. It's not dancers. It's not uncommon that I work with a lot of athletes, whether we were athletes when we were just kids, because so much of our body image and our self-perception comes from our childhood. Like I was a younger years athlete, not so much college. And a lot of my own body image experiences came through me playing soccer or me playing basketball or me doing cheerleading. But I have a lot of college athletes or people that are just very heavily involved in like team sports in life because it does bring up body image and food and movement all at the same time. And yeah, starting to work with you was really exciting for me because I knew that I could help. I knew I could help anyway, but I had this specific experience also that really helped me help you as someone that has a lifestyle that heavily cares about, values movement in that way. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Something that I remember is we talked about how all of these things impacted your life, like you just described, but they also really impacted the people that you love, like your relationships with your friends, with your family. I remember we talked a lot about wanting to just eat pizza with your dad. That was really important to you. But tell me about how your relationships were impacted by this inner struggle that you had at the time.
Yeah, so you mentioned the thing with my dad. I felt when it came to food, I never wanted to really go to pizza with him just because I felt like it was unhealthy. And then even with my dad with movement, we talked about I didn't really want to go on a run with him because I knew he would do less miles than me. And I'm like, oh my God, I gotta burn this many calories and I gotta run this many miles. I have to do this. He doesn't run as much as that. That was a bonding moment. When it came to swim, I was a distance swimmer. So I swam a lot of laps. Back then, I was just like, I didn't want to swim with people who were considered sprinters because I wouldn't have burned that many calories. It was just all about just looking at the Apple Watch and just calories, yards. Did I do this enough? And then even about walks with my mom. I didn't even want to go on walks with my mom because it had to be run. It had to be run because the run burns more calories. It did definitely affect my relationships. It was just like, oh, you're healthy. You can't have that. For McDonald's, for example, fast food, oh, Taylor can't have that because she's too healthy. It was always just Taylor's too healthy for this type of thing. And I try to maintain a healthier lifestyle, but there are times where you don't have to be what is considered really healthy. Everything in moderation, I feel like, is always beneficial for your body, and you don't have to stay so regimented all the time. That really affected my relationships because it was just always just, oh, we're going to assume Taylor doesn't want to eat that. And it's gotten so much better with my friends and my family. I feel like you now have a versatile diet, and it makes a life so much better and calmer. It's just not so by the books. You have to eat.
Yeah.
So
It sounds like it
I
was really
a lot,
isolating for
but
you. Yeah, absolutely.
yeah, I
Yeah.
always had to have my own meal. If we went out, I would always get the salad. I would always be the salad girl. And now, like, it's no, Taylor can get pizza with us. Taylor can get wraps with us. Like, it's not, oh, you gotta get your own meal. Oh, will Taylor like things on the menu? It's not really about that anymore, which, it was for a really long time.
It's nice to have that flexibility in your diet, but what's really important to you here is that you get to spend that quality time with people that you love. You get to go on those walks and go on those runs or have the pizza and also just be more present in those moments. Not thinking about food so much has really allowed you to be with the people that you love so much more.
Yeah, and I feel like when you're older and you think about times when you were young, you're not going to remember the times where you're going to remember the times where you had the most fun and you had the best experiences and the best laughs. You're not going to remember a time where you including yourself and not going to these experiences and not hanging out because you didn't want to eat what the rest were eating. I've also learned that throughout this journey that I really admire my relationships and the connections that I built with people. And I think that's more important than worrying about what I'm eating.
That's so powerful. And it's so amazing to hear you say that because I knew you when you knew that's how you wanted to feel, but it felt impossible to get there. What do you think from
Yeah.
our work together has really stuck with you? What did you learn in that time? What did we work on together in that time? What changes did we make that have really allowed you to be like this today, a year and a half later?
Yeah, so I think one of the main things, there's many things, but one of the main things that I've learned is the self talk. I think sometimes with social media and just people around you, I think it's sometimes easy to fall into the trap of what others believe. So I think, for example, a lot of my friends now are really obsessed with weighing themselves and looking at old pictures,
Mm,
which reminds me of what I used to do a lot. And I think what I've been doing is asking myself why I'm doing this, why I'm feeling this way. And journaling, I think that was something that we worked on a lot is like that self-talk of really what's causing me to feel this way and like why am I doing it? And the answer is always others' influence. And I have to remind myself I'm my own person and I went through this journey and I'm really passionate of what I learned and not to let others get in the way of that. So that's something that I use a lot because it's really hard to fall into, especially when people around you are doing things that you used to do. So that's something that I really took away from this. And also like the whole movement thing is you actually allowed me to not use my Apple Watch. That was really hard and seemed really
hell yeah.
impossible at the time. Yeah, and I made you, I remember I sent you a picture of my sister holding it and just taking it away. Kelly took it away and I didn't imagine myself working out and actually feeling good about a workout without seeing the calories.
Mhm.
And it felt so good. I obviously still like to work out. It's part of my life. It's a way I relieve stress and how I take that time for myself. And now it's just, I was able to move today. I'm very grateful that I was able to move today. Things like that. And I think that seemed so impossible at the time. It really did. But now it's just, okay, yeah, I went to the gym. I felt good. I got a sweat. I did that for myself. So that was something that I'm constantly to not get trapped with okay, you need to see how much you were standing, things like that. So that's something that always really stuck with me. And the last thing is the pictures. I really learned a lot about not comparing yourself to the old you and moving on with the work that you've done. And I feel like that goes with the self-talk, looking at yourself like what you look like in the past and just constantly going back and forth between one picture to the next, zooming in
Mhm.
like to your body. Did you gain weight? So it's having that self-talk again and being like, why are you doing this? What caused you to think that? So those are the two main things I feel like I really benefited from.
Yeah, those are huge things. Like that is, and I hear that from so many people that I work with that they really struggle with feeling like you're doing enough with food and with movement and that you are enough with what your body looks like. And you've made massive changes to be so much more grounded and comfortable and just calm in those areas of your life. And you're still taking really amazing care of your body. It's not that you stopped working out because you stopped holding yourself to such an aggressive standard. It's just that you changed why you're doing it. And that's actually made it so much more enjoyable. It makes it a lot easier to go move your body a lot of times because it's actually more fun. I think that a lot of us, when we think about lessening the rules that we have for ourselves around food, around how often we need to work out, around what our body is allowed to look like for us to be comfortable with it, we assume that we're going to stop caring about ourselves, stop taking care of ourselves. But really, the opposite is true. And you're the perfect example of that. You care for yourself better because you're still maintaining a really strong physical body and your mental is so much stronger as well. Would you agree?
Oh, yeah. I'm not really worrying about how others perceive me. And I was constantly, oh, are they going to think I gained weight? I don't really care. It's me. It's what I want to do. It's what I want to eat, how I want to move. I don't really care about what others think. I really,
Mm-hmm.
at this point, it took such a toll on my whole entire life that I'm ready to learn from what I did back then. And then I took that
Mm-hmm.
time with you to really grow and really the information that you were giving me. And now I'm
Mm-hmm.
able to speak to this podcast, give back to people who are going through the same thing. One of my friends is saying the different things that I'm saying and that through. So I'm trying to put my story out there and hopefully it can influence people to either work with you or better themselves in different ways. So yeah, it's definitely like a really huge accomplishment. I've accomplished a lot in my life, but this is something I finally did like for myself, besides like my career, like
Mm-hmm.
for myself and for my well-being. So yeah, I'm really proud of it.
I'm so proud of you. I'm so freaking proud of you. And I've been so proud of you. Like,
Thanks.
okay. But all this time, like, I've loved staying in touch with you because I've been so freaking proud of you. And one of the things that I remember from before we worked together is that we were trying to find a way that you could make it happen for yourself because you really wanted this work. You knew that you needed changes, but realistically, we had some financial concerns about how we were going to make this possible for you. And I think that's something holds a lot of people back is this fear of investing in yourself. Like you said, you've accomplished a lot, but this is something that you've done for yourself. And a lot of us really struggle to spend the money that we've earned, especially when it's a limited supply, on ourselves, the same way we might spend it on something else essential, college classes or rent or a car payment, which are all important things. But you were so driven to find a way to make it work, even though you were literally like, I think going into your senior year when we started working together. So you were literally on college kid income essentially, which is pretty much nothing. And you found a
Yeah.
way to make it happen. I remember from you, like your energy was very, I know I need this. And I know that finances are a genuine consideration. If you could talk to the version of yourself that was younger, what would you tell that version of yourself,
Yeah.
knowing that you've put the money into yourself, you've said, I'm worthy of this investment, and you've gotten so much from it? Yeah, what would you tell that version of yourself that had no idea what was coming?
I would say you don't know how much this impacted your whole life. Like the way that you see yourself and the way that you value yourself and the movement that you do and the relationships that you have has a whole different perspective now for the better. I think that's what I would say. Since this work, my life changed. Oh my God, I'm emotional. But like my life really changed for the better because my mental wasn't so much on food and movement anymore. It was really building relationships, having those experiences, enjoying things that I like to do for myself. I didn't know how much I was going to put into myself. It was a scary financial move putting that money into myself, but it really shaped my perspective of life. And I know that's so general, but it really did. My relationships, the movement, but it really did. It was awesome. So do
Mhm.
it, girl. That what I would say.
I love that. And I couldn't agree more. That's something that I wish I could say to everybody that applies to work with me because it is scary. It's so scary to trust ourselves that we can make this decision to spend money on ourselves, to spend time on ourselves, to that it's going to work out, that it's not the wrong decision. That's something that a lot of us fear. So many people that I work with, and I'm sure you relate, like we're perfectionists, we're people pleasers. We're so afraid of making the wrong
Yeah.
decision or spending our money the wrong way, spending our time the wrong way. And a lot of times we struggle to trust ourselves that we can have the kind of transformations, the kind of outcomes that you are the perfect example of. So I'm so happy that you shared that. And yeah, I just am so happy that we got to have this conversation because you are such a badass and you're someone that is like the perfect example of the kind of person I love to work with. You are so determined. You know
Yeah.
that you need that outside support. And so you went and you got it because you knew that it was impacting not just you, but the other people in your life. And a part of you knew how you deserved to feel. And yeah, I'm so proud of you every single day.
Ooh, thanks. You're great too.
Thanks.
Really.
Appreciate you. I have one more like little question, which is just give us a little like life update. What is going on in your life that you feel like is better or has been made possible by us doing this work?
Yeah, so I think that now being in my career, I just started a new job. When you start a new job, you can get really wrapped up in, I have to do this. I'm a teacher, so I'm learning a lot as I go because this is my first time ever doing it before. As with any job, with that, I think it's really important to not really get so wrapped up in it 100% because it is important to make time for yourself. And I think with the work that I did with you, I think that there's a little bit less pressure that it needs to be movement, that it needs
Mm-hmm.
to be, okay, since I work teaching, I have to go to the gym. I think that with what we did is I have to find things for myself that I like doing by myself or hanging out with my friends that make me happy, going out to dinner or going to New York City, like things that make me happy that doesn't restrict to movement. I think
Yeah.
that's something that I really made a priority going into my career and not really getting so wrapped up in, okay, I have to do lesson plans. Like, I think making that time for myself that doesn't revolve around movement was really important to me. So I think that's something that I've been doing really well 4 months into teaching. So I think I've really done that for myself. And it's important. It's important to make time for yourself and not be so zoned into your job 100% all the time.
Yeah. What do you think you've gotten out of this practice of being more flexible with yourself, of spending more time? What are the benefits of this?
Yeah, so I think the benefits of it is just understanding that you are putting effort into yourself. I think that it was consuming a lot of your thoughts all the time, and you couldn't even think about anything else besides moving or whatever, or eating or whatever. So I think that the benefits of this program is long term because not only do I see it right now in my career, but I saw it a year ago because we worked like a year and a half ago. I saw it a year ago when I was going through student teaching, and it just gets better over time. And you pay less attention to the outside and like what
Hmm.
other people are saying is such a long term benefit. I feel like when you don't
Hmm.
pay attention to the outside noise, you're
Hmm.
just worrying about how you feel you want to accomplish. So that I would say that the benefit is really just feeling good about yourself long term. Because if you start with having these negative thoughts and about yourself, you're not going to be able to, not saying that everyone gets married, but I'm saying if you want to put your effort into with someone else as well, I think that it's important to love yourself first. And that's something I'm looking for long term is that I want to put myself first before I put myself combined it with someone else, if that makes sense. Like I
Hmm.
with like
Makes so
conjoining
much
our
sense.
lives.
Yeah. Yeah. Like you've built a
Yeah,
really strong foundation within yourself. And you know that with your career, with your friendships, with your family, with a future relationship, with whatever you do next, you know who you are, you know what matters to you, and you know that all of those things are going to be better because you have that clarity. Absolutely.
exactly.
Okay, I think that's a fantastic place to end. I hope you're so proud of yourself because, like I said, I am proud of you every single day. I'm so happy that you're here. Of
Thank
course.
you.